welcome back to another Because live stream. I'm Carmen Bella and I'm here with lovely Holly from Pollenet, who is going to teach us how to arrange a vase arrangement. So
Yep,
I've already messed that up.
arrangement.
There we go. Holly, do you want to introduce yourself and maybe tell us about what we're going to be doing with all these beautiful flowers today?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Holly. I am a florist and the owner of Pollenet Flowers. So we've been in business for a couple of years now, and we use very fun, interesting, bright coloured flowers to kind of create our signature Pollenet look. So today we're going to be building a vase arrangement in these vases, which are perfect for weddings, events, just something nice on your mantelpiece if you're feeling a little bit extra. And the best way to kind of create that is using something that's called the grid technique.
Okay.
So as we go, we'll kind of be putting the stems in at an angle, turning the vase as we go, obviously making sure they look good as well. And essentially what should happen is that the stems will lock together.
Okay.
So in essence, you should be able to kind of lift your arrangement out, pop it back in, and it won't move too much.
Okay, cool.
Easier said than done. Famous last words.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll give it a go. So let's start. I think, Holly, where do we start?
Amazing. So I've already taken all the leaves off the flowers today, but for anyone who had just kind of like bought the flowers without doing that, it's really important that we take all the leaves off the stem, and most important that if you do leave any of the leaves on because you think they look good, that we've got none below the water line.
Okay.
That's just because the leaves rot in there basically,
Okay.
and once that gets into the water, it's going to make your flowers die as well. So really important that we've done that.
First insider tip.
I always like to go in first with a big flower, just because it helps me get the focus point of how I want my arrangement to look.
Okay.
So first thing we do is cut. We're going to cut at a 90-degree angle. It just means that we've got a lot of surface area on the stem, and the flower can drink up as much water as it can. So obviously it's really hard to kind of get the first one exactly where you want it to go, but always kind of put it in at an angle. I like to cut the first one so that it's kind of in line here.
Okay.
But as you go, I like to think that you can just build it as you like it. So there's no kind of rules, not too strict.
Is that generally like your starting point though? You would kind of aim for
That's always
somewhere
my
around.
starting point, yeah, because I feel like it's easier to build around it. A good way as well, rather than kind of just cutting it straight away, if you were kind of deciding what height to do it, you can always bring your vase closer to the edge and just kind of gauge how high you want it before you pop it in.
Okay, cool.
So the hard bit is kind of knowing where to go next. I'm probably going to go in with a hydrangea as well. I just love these flowers for kind of building around. I'm going to cut it, probably I want it to go around here. I'm
going to follow you because it's my first time doing this, so I really don't know what I'm doing, so I'm really putting my trust into you.
And then I'm going to pop it just on the opposite side like this.
Okay.
And as we go, we're going to build that grid technique.
Okay.
So next, I think I'm probably going to go in with this dahlia. These dahlias are absolutely beautiful. They're called Cafe au lait dahlias.
Oh, what a pretty name.
I know.
Pretty name for a pretty flower.
I feel like they don't really like anything apart from water, but I'm just like no wind, no sun, no cold, no nothing. But when they're good, they're great. So I'm going to bring this one towards me.
Okay.
I'll turn it around as well, just so the camera can kind of see. But I want that one, I think, just sitting on the vase, because I quite like fat flowers just at the bottom. Fab. And then I think what I'm going to do next is just maybe bulk it out a little bit with some of the foliage. So we've got our spray painted asparagus fern. And I think I might just pop this.
And how do you have a general rule for like which lengths you should cut certain flowers, or do you just...
It's really about, so as I said, I kind of always start with the bigger flowers, and I keep them fairly low, not too low. It's always, once you've cut the stem, you can't get it back.
Yeah.
But if you put it in and you think you want to go lower, obviously you can always change it then. So I always keep these ones fairly low, just so that you can have the little ones coming out. But as I said, I quite like it there's always kind of like a plan of how you want it to look at the end, but nothing too strict, because obviously the thing with flowers is that they're going to do their own thing.
Yeah.
So you don't want to constrict them too much, and you want it to kind of look natural and kind of effortless.
Okay.
I'm probably going to take this next.
And are these flowers, why did you pick these flowers in particular today, other than the fact they're beautiful?
I haven't actually used these in probably over a year, so I thought I would add them to the list.
Oh, nice.
Hydrangeas are really like a Pollenet staple,
Yeah.
Unless anyone obviously doesn't like them and requests otherwise. I pretty much use them in all arrangements. I love the colours today, so I always try and go for like, I love pinks and purples and that kind of thing. And then we've got the green gypsophilia here, which is kind of like that pop and that contrast, which again, I think is really important in an arrangement.
Yeah.
So just turning that there, you can kind of see even just the beginnings of the grid here, and everything should kind of start to lock in as we build. So I'm going to turn this slightly, and I'm going to put something in this gap here.
Okay.
It's probably going to be another little bit of asparagus fern, just because we can get a bit of filler in there.
Yeah. Ooh.
And I really love kind of like the natural shapes that you get with the asparagus fern. Some of them are a lot bigger than others. Things like this we can kind of cut in half maybe if it was too long.
I feel like, so obviously these, I don't know if you guys will be able to see, but close up you can see that these asparagus ferns have been spray painted, I think, or
Yes,
I feel like dyeing flowers has turned into quite a big thing.
I love it.
Yeah.
I mean, in some ways I don't think it's very eco-friendly, and some people would argue that obviously flowers are already quite beautiful, well, very beautiful, and you don't really need to do anything else. But I do love spray painted asparagus fern. I think it's really cool.
It's really pretty, and like I think that's kind of coming, that's definitely part of like a new trend of florists that I've seen in London a lot, where kind of more younger generation are really interested in floristry and like being really creative with it. How do you think floristry has changed, and like why it's changed, I guess?
I think floristry's changed a lot. I think there's kind of like a new wave of florists, especially in London, who have just changed the rules a little bit.
Yeah.
If you look at floristry, you know, even just a decade ago, you're kind of looking at arrangements that are very perfect, very circular. And it's weird because that's kind of the opposite of what flowers, you're kind of taking something, which kind of goes against the dyed thing again, but you're taking something that's naturally beautiful and constricting it into a shape that maybe it doesn't look best in. So I think this kind of new wave of floristry is a little bit more playful, I think is a good word to describe it.
Nice. Yeah, I definitely agree. I think this is definitely more in line of what type of things I like in the colour palettes and such. So
a bit more interesting, and you kind of go into a room and you think, wow.
Yeah, it's a showstopper, isn't it?
Next I'm going to take this Lissy Anthus, and I'm going to pop it, I'm going to try and get it fairly straight.
Are you still cutting it at an angle as well?
Yeah,
Yep.
always cut at an angle, just so that we can get the best, the most water coming up the stem. It's all about that surface area. So another thing to note as well is that with these arrangements, if you wanted something for a mantelpiece, you kind of don't have to turn it, because it's going to be, they're always going to have a natural front.
Okay.
Where you look at it and you think, oh, actually that side looks way better.
Yeah.
But if you wanted it for a table, or you know, on a plinth or something, always keep turning it as you go, just so that you're making sure you haven't got any empty spots. Okay, I'm probably going to go in next with this amazing gypsophilia.
See, one side looks extremely tall compared to my other side.
That's fine. I reckon we should take some of the leaves off here.
Okay.
I'm going to pop this out.
Do you think I should cut this one down as well? I feel like that one was trying to
Potentially.
reach out and escape. Cute. And how did you get into forestry and end up starting Pollenet? Tell us the journey.
So I was actually working as an estate agent, which I hated. I just fell into it and it wasn't me. I'm the worst salesperson. I just would walk into a house and be like, this is horrible. I'm like, it is. You're so right.
I agree, actually, yeah.
So I kind of fell into that job, and I was at this point where I was like, how do I get here? I don't like it. I don't, the commute was actually a great commute, but I hated it just because I hated the job. And I was like, I really want to do something creative where I just feel it aligns with me a little bit more. And I didn't really know what that was. I went to Columbia Road Flower Market one day and was like, faffing around with the flowers at home, and I was like, this feels really fun. I'm going to go on a course. And it just kind of grew from there. It started off as like a hobby and making arrangements for friends and that kind of thing. And yeah, I like to think that it grew quite organically.
Amazing. And when did you start your business?
So it was kind of like mid-2019, but it's changed a lot since then.
Yeah.
I would say it was really at the beginning, maybe like in a bittersweet way of the pandemic, where it really like got into its flow and we found like our signature look and that kind of thing.
Yeah, because I mean, it must have been so difficult having, a young business and then going straight into a pandemic, because I'm assuming like a lot of your work as well as for customers will be for events and such.
Yeah, and that's my favourite part. I love events. I love having a really creative brief or something where someone's like, I love these colours, and you can kind of go wild and do what you want. So it kind of took away the fun part a little bit. But I mean, it's still been a really great year, and I feel really lucky to have kind of been able to grow the business. Yeah. Even in this year. So.
Yeah. I guess you have to adapt, and doing that, you get to try lots of different things, and like this right now we're doing
today
we're doing a virtual flower arranging.
Right, so I think I'm next. I'm just going to take one of the roses. Mine has definitely got a bit of a natural front, so I may just try and stick.
I'm not really sure if mine does. I feel like mine looks a lot messier than yours. You can tell who's definitely the professional and who is not.
I quite like the messy look.
Okay, that's good to know.
I'm probably going to stick with just the natural front on mine, just because of the flowers we have, and keep this as like a mantelpiece one. But if you feel like you need to move anything, you can always kind of lift them up and shimmy them a little bit.
Okay.
And if we've got that grid, it should kind of all still stick in place.
Yeah.
I'm going to go in here with the rose, I think.
Oh, that's pretty.
And then I'm thinking, just popping this one up here. So I also love asymmetry, which is probably pretty obvious from what we're doing. But just kind of like the unexpected and nothing too perfect. Or even perfect at all.
This is very relaxing.
It is really fun. It's weird how something that you really enjoy can change when you make it a career. So I love just kind of taking my time, and on those days where you feel like you've got less time limits and that kind of thing, it feels a lot more fun.
And so you were telling me before the video started that the business is based in Peckham. What are your plans for this year? Do you have anything exciting coming up that you can share?
So I actually put a deposit down yesterday for a shop.
Oh, exciting!
Which is really exciting.
Oh, congrats!
Thank you. Just to know as well, I'm going in with this now just to create a little bit of height.
Okay.
And we've got a few of these, so I'll probably just kind of like tailor them down from each other.
And what flower is this?
It's called an Aramurus, I think.
Aramurus.
I'm probably saying that wrong, which is embarrassing, but it's spelt like that.
Okay, Aramurus. Try and remember that.
Yeah, so we're getting a shop in Peckham, which is really exciting. It's like definitely feels like the next step. So yeah, hopefully it will all go well.
That is exciting. It'd be so nice to see all these kind of arrangements and in person as well as like on Instagram and.
Yeah, I think it's definitely something that people like to see and experience, and especially because we've got these amazing colours, and sometimes when people do see them in real life, they're like, are they real flowers? So it's quite nice to almost like touch them and experience it. Okay, so I think I'm going to go in with this anthurium next.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to keep it quite high, but I'm going to maybe just pop it in the centre.
I just keep looking at mine compared to yours, and yours just looks great, and I'm not quite sure what's happened with mine.
But the nice thing, I think, when when you're doing it for fun, is that you can carry on changing it, and if you do find it therapeutic, there's kind of like no rules, and you can just keep going back to it until you're really happy with it.
It's funny because I feel like it takes a lot of focus, but it's not too like taxing on
Yeah.
And so like even me, who's clearly just not very good at it, still feels like I'm accomplishing something doing it and building it. Okay.
This one in here. Turn that back.
Oh, gorgeous.
So I don't know if you can feel that as you pop them in now, they kind of stay where you want them to go a little bit more. And that's just from this little grid that we're making. And another easier way to do it as well is maybe pop chicken wire in the vase.
Okay.
Which actually can look quite cool, even in a clear vase.
Yeah.
But especially if you've got an opaque vase, definitely just pop some chicken wire in there, and then it's gonna be even easier.
So do you think there's any like particular floral trends that people should be trying at the moment, or is your mindset just do whatever you want with flowers? Or
I think it's really fun to experiment with flowers and get things that maybe colours that you wouldn't necessarily go for, something a little bit different. Even sometimes when I'm kind of ordering them for delivery days and events and things, I'm like, oh, will those go together? And then I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to try it. I think they'll work really well. And often things do just look really, really beautiful together.
Yeah.
And you end up with something quite special.
Yeah, I mean, that's part of the fun, isn't it? Just creating and seeing how it goes. And if it works, it works. And if it doesn't, it doesn't.
Exactly. But yeah, I think because everyone's been home a lot more recently as well, it is really fun to just practice at home and pop a good film on.
Yeah.
Get a glass of wine.
Yeah, why not?
Arrange some flowers.
Yeah, it's a nice little evening in
Exactly.
hobby.
I'm conscious that everyone's got kind of the ugly side of my arrangement back, so I'm going to keep turning that round.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out where my front is.
I think it looks good.
Thank you.
That's like an all-round one rather than a mantelpiece one.
Yeah, this could go on a coffee table, so lots of could be viewed at lots of different angles.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm telling myself anyway. We'll go with that. And are these your signature? You said these are hydrangeas?
Yes.
They're your signature flower.
I always use them, in every arrangement, really.
There you go.
I just love them. I love big flowers. I love a focal flower. And they come in so many different beautiful colours as well, which I love.
Okay.
So this is just kind of now like the fiddly part, because I'm pretty much out of flowers.
And do you have any tips that you can share about how to, if there are tips and things you can do to help keep your bouquet looking fresh and beautiful for longer?
Yes, so I would recommend trimming the stems every other day, really.
Okay.
What happens with the stems is that they can seal up a little bit, you know, like if you cut a tree and then it will seal up.
Yeah.
So they kind of lose the ability to drink as much water as possible.
Okay.
So if you're trimming them just every couple of days, it just means that obviously they can make sure they're getting lots of water.
Yeah.
Changing the water regularly as well, again, every other day. Just because as flowers do kind of wilt and start to die, they can infect the water. So if anything does look like it's completely gone as well, always take it out so that it's not infecting any of the other flowers. Keeping them in a really cool, dry spot.
Okay.
Absolutely no direct sunlight, because I've made that mistake many
They
a time.
don't like
where
that.
I've made myself a nice arrangement, go out for the day, and then it's been in the sun.
Oh, no.
But you never care when it's for yourself.
Yeah.
I'll just check that over there. And not keep them near any fruit. I've never
Oh.
actually looked into that and why it is, but I remember on my first floristry course, someone told me that. So.
Oh, really? That's so interesting. I wonder why. I have to.
No, I probably should have come armed with more facts.
No, it's all right. If someone knows, leave a comment. There we go, and then we can all be educated.
Okay, I'm probably going to just fill out a little bit of the front of this one with the green gypsophilia. Absolutely love this colour, the green.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Really like elevates the bouquet, I think. Oh God, it looks so beautiful from this side. Your bouquet, I mean, not.
And yours.
Thank you. Okay.
So I think I'm going to leave mine there, mainly because I've run out of actual flowers. But I feel like I gave myself just enough. And I'm not going to pop any more of this in there. I think another thing I've learned along the way is kind of knowing when to stop. And sometimes when you've got so many flowers, I'm like, I'll put them all in, and then it's kind of lost its balance and lost what I want it to do.
Yeah, that's good advice. I think I'm gonna follow that now, and I'm gonna say that's the front. There we go.
Fab.
So thank you so much, Holly, for.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, yeah, thank you for sharing your tips. And then where people can find you on Instagram and your website if they want to buy a bouquet, unless if you don't want to do it yourself and have Holly the master do it for you.
So our Instagram is Pollenet, and then our website is www.pollenetflowers.co.uk.
Oh, amazing. So thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next week, and who knows what we'll be doing next. You'll have to tune in then to find out. So thanks so much, Holly, and we'll see you soon.